To order. I'll read the appeal of decisions pursuant to the provisions of 2.68.030 of the Metropolitan Code of Laws. Please take notice that decisions of the Metropolitan Board of Parks and Recreation may be appealed to the Chancery Court of Davidson County for review under a common law writ of certiorari. Any appeal must be filed within 60 days after entry of a final decision by the board. Any person or other entity considering an appeal should consult with an attorney to ensure that time and procedural requirements are met. Consideration of the minutes. Have you all had an opportunity to read the minutes? I'll accept a motion for approval.
So moved.
Is there a second? Is there any discussion? It has been properly moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes. Metro Council referrals. Director Odom, are there any referrals from council members present?
No, not yet. There'll be some council members on the agenda down further.
Thank you. We'll move now to old business 03-21-02. Ms. Sharon W. Hurt, President of Metropolitan Minority Caucus, requests the board to rename Hadley Park to Hadley Lillard Park. The naming committee met this morning. Commissioner Scott Barnes, is there a report from the committee?
Yes, the committee met, and the vote from the committee recommends to approve as it's stated.
Thank you so much. Are there any comments or discussion? I will accept the motion.
So moved.
Is there a second? Second. All those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes. Moving to 06-21-04, Metro Parks is requesting approval of an agreement for grant of easement for conservation greenway between Germantown JV LLC and Metro Government on property owned by Germantown JV LLC located at 1420 Adams Street, parcel number 0820501770. The Acquisitions Committee met this morning. Commissioner Jeff Haynes, is there a report from the committee?
The committee had met and recommends approval.
Thank you so much. I will accept a motion.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes. 06-21-05, Metro Parks is requesting approval in concept.
Excuse, I'm so sorry,
Yes.
Chair. Still. I recall that we had a policy change around the renaming of parks that required a supermajority. Am I misunderstanding that? Do I remember that correctly? Am I correct? Yes. So I think we need to understand how many votes we actually have in favor. So I don't know if we need to do a roll call vote or a raising of hands.
So
I just want to make sure that we are in compliance with our policy.
Okay.
Okay.
So Commissioner Gentry, 3000.1, naming of parks, amended February 2nd, 2021. Process for renaming. A supermajority of 5 members of the Parks Board is required to approve the renaming of a park. And so we'll go back. The naming committee did meet, and this is on 03-21-02. The naming committee did meet this morning. Commissioner Scott Barnes did indicate that there was a vote for approval on the motion, and so we need to see the supermajority of the members of the Parks Board required for approving the renaming of the park. Do we do that by, how do we?
You can do it by roll call.
Roll call. Okay, I'm going to go around. Commissioner Anderson?
Yes.
Commissioner Scott Barnes?
No.
Okay. Commissioner Cruz?
Yes.
Johnston? Yes. Thank you.
Commissioner Hughes votes yes.
Commissioner Hughes? Commissioner Gentry?
Yes.
Commissioner Haynes?
Yes.
Thank you so much. And on the naming committee, I voted approved as well. Thank you. Any other? Thank you so much.
If I could make is this okay for me to make a
It
discussion?
is, because I have lost my place.
Okay, well, I just wanted to clarify, my reason for a no is that in the process of going through this naming, which has been over a year, but I have appreciated the contributions that Kwame Lillard has made, and I worry that if we, do name him at Padley Park, that will diminish the opportunities to give him his own park's name or some other opportunity to honor his contributions to Nashville. That would be my reasons for, thank you.
Any additional comments? Thank you so much. 06-21-05. Yes. Metro Parks is requesting approval in concept of a participation agreement between Metro and CRP Alta LLCA, the developers of 200 Cumberland Bend, a multifamily development adjacent to the Cumberland River Greenway Trailhead located at 102 Great Circle Road. The participation agreement will include design and construction of the improvements, subject to Metro Parks design approval and maintenance by the owners of the 200 Cumberland Bend property. The Acquisitions Committee met this morning. Commissioner Jeff Haynes is their report from the committee.
We recommend approval.
Thank you so much. I will accept a motion.
I make a motion to approve?
It's been proper, may I have a second?
Second.
Thank you so much. It's been properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes. We'll move now to the consent agenda. Director Odom, I understand there is a revision to the consent agenda.
Yes, ma'am, we need to exclude the Old School R&B Festival, Riverfront Park, October 2nd to 3rd, 2021. That item will appear as a standalone item on a future agenda.
Thank you so much. So hearing the revision, are there any questions? I'll accept a motion
So moved
with the revision. Correct?
with the
I just wanna
revision.
make-
I move that we accept the consent agenda minus the Old School R&B Festival.
Thank you so much. Is there a second?
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes. Thank you so much. We'll move now to new business, 07-21-02. Staff requests approval to renew application and ultimately accept an award for fiscal year 2022 for the Child and Adult Care Food Program. This program provides nutritious meals and snacks for children attending after-school programs in 8 community centers. Director Odom, is there a staff recommendation?
Staff recommends approval, and I call Darlene Morrow to come and give some additional details, please.
Good afternoon. We're expanding our program this year, at least we plan to, from 6 to 8 sites, and we expect the approved budget to be no more than $620,000.
Are there any questions from the, thank you. Director Odom, any additional?
No, ma'am, thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. I'll accept a motion.
I move to accept.
Thank you so much. Is there a second? It's been properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? The motion passes. 07-21-03. Staff requests conditional acceptance of a donation from Habitat for Humanity of an approximate 6-acre subdivision of land and proposed park improvements to the land. The property is located at 0 Brick Church Pike on parcel number 06-0000007,000. Conditions include park staff level approval of all design, construction, and compliance with all Metro Park standards and policies, coordinated public engagement during design phase, a Phase 1 environmental review of all property to be donated and resolution of any required remediation, development of property survey, legal description, and all other instruments required per Metro to accept the property donation, standard written confirmation of other terms, including no match obligation from parks upon transfer. Metro Parks will operate and maintain the park. This will be deferred to acquisition. 07-21-04, Metro staff requests conditional acceptance of a donation from Greystar Development East LLC or its assigns of an approximate 1.3 acre parcel of land for a public park, construction of park improvements, grant of access easement over entry drive to owner of adjacent multifamily development, and declaration of covenants from owner for landscape and parking lot maintenance. The property is located at 0 Gallatin Pike on parcel number 03300012600, located in Madison, and would be constructed along with the adjacent multifamily development. Conditions include park staff level approval of all design, construction in compliance with all Metro Park standards and policies and community need, a Phase 1 environmental review of all property to be donated and resolution of any required remediation, development of property survey, legal description of all instruments required per Metro to accept the property donation, standard written confirmation of other terms, including no monetary match or property match obligation from parks, grant of access easement to owner of multifamily project giving access on entry drive. Upon transfer of park property, Greystar Development East LLC and all future owners of the multifamily property will maintain the park landscape and parking to be memorialized in the declaration of covenants or stipulation of access easement. Metro Parks will operate and maintain park equipment and hardscape. This too will be deferred to acquisition. 07-21-05, board to reaffirm reappointment of Mr. Jeff Haynes as a member of the Parks Board representing the Metro Planning Commission effective June 1st, 2021. Are there any comments? Congratulations, Commissioner Haynes. You're welcome. 07-21-06, Councilmember Brandon Taylor requests approval of a donation of $100,000 from One City. This donation is to be used for improvements at Centennial Park and Centennial Park Dog Park. Director Odom, is there a staff recommendation?
Staff recommends approval, ma'am.
And I see that Councilmember Brandon Taylor is here.
He
You'd like
is,
to
yes, ma'am.
address the commissioners?
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Thanks so much, commissioners. Director Odom, thank you all. One City is right here, right down the street. It's a high-density area full of apartments, and we know as more and more people come into that area, that Centennial Park and Centennial Dog Park will become their backyards. And so this group has donated $100,000 for improvements to upgrades for both Centennial Park and Centennial Dog Park. And so I really welcome that into the district. So thank you all.
Thank you. Are there any questions or discussion? I'll accept a motion.
Motion.
Thank you so much. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thanks so much, Councilman Taylor. The motion passes. 07-21-07, the Joe C. Davis Foundation and Friends of Mill Ridge Park request acceptance of a documented master plan for the Moore family at Mill Ridge Park. The creation of the master plan is valued at up to $25,000 and aligns with the existing master plan for Mill Ridge Park. Director Odom, is there a staff recommendation?
Staff recommends approval, and I believe there are representatives here, Mr. Darrell Hawks from Friends of Mill Ridge, to offer comment.
Good afternoon, Board. Thanks
Good
for
afternoon.
considering this request. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Are there any questions? Seeing none, we thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Is there a motion?
I move to approve.
Thank you so much. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes. 07-21-08, Friends of Mill Ridge Park request the approval to fundraise for and proceed with the contracting of construction and project management services for the construction of a primitive trailhead at Mill Ridge Park located at Crossings Boulevard and Dana Way. The approval of the trailhead designed by Metro Parks is required. The value of the constructed trailhead will not exceed $75,000 in total, with up to $40,000 in funds contributed by Friends of Mill Ridge Park and up to $50,000 in improvements made by Metro Parks. Director Odom, is there a staff recommendation?
Staff recommends approval.
Thank you so much. Are there any questions or discussion? I will accept a motion.
Actually, I'll go ahead. It seems like an expensive trailhead.
So,
But-
so I will ask Mr. Hawks to come back to the podium, but this actually has been in discussion for probably 2 years here at the Parks Board, how to get this going. We're grateful for the support of the Friends Group. We have committed $50,000 to this project, but that's a burgeoning community out there, and it'll be a trailhead that's much needed. You have any?
Mr. Hawks.
Thank you for that commentary. And I'll say that I think some 3 years ago when we began this process, the design reached over $300,000 in a total estimated cost. And so we've spent the last few years redesigning it with input from the staff here at the department in order to achieve a cost below $100,000. One of the several reasons for such costs is that this area lacks infrastructure entirely for accessing the parkland. And so not only is it a place for parking, there will also be access to the parkland that's pretty inaccessible heretofore. So.
For that, I actually had a chance to go to Mill Ridge 2 weeks ago, so I appreciate what you're saying. Thanks for explaining.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any additional discussion? I'll accept a motion.
I move to approve.
Second.
Thank you so much. It's been properly moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes. 07-21-09, the Nashville Tree Foundation requests approval to create and display temporary art created from ash trees located in parkland for the purpose of raising awareness of emerald ash borer, EAB. Director Odom, is there a staff recommendation?
Staff recommends approval.
I will accept a motion.
I move to approve.
Is there a
Second.
Thank you so much. It's been properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Any questions?
I'll just make a comment that I'm glad this is a kind of way to make lemonade out of lemons because
Yeah.
it's coming, and I feel like many people maybe aren't as aware as they should be that Nashville's going to change, the canopy in Nashville's going to change drastically.
Thank you so much for your comments. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes. 07-21-10, Councilmember Nancy Van Reese, Chair for Parks, Library, and Arts, with support from Councilmember Sharon Hurt, Chair of the Minority Caucus, requests suspension of the rules to allow Public Square Park to be renamed Diane Nash Park. We are deferring this to the naming committee, but is Councilwoman Nancy Van Reese is here. You have 3 minutes, up to.
Oh, that's fine. I won't take much. I appreciate this being referred to the naming committee. I wanted to indicate that Nashville has rightly gone about honoring several freedom riders, and it's long past time to have Diane Nash's name in a place of honor. Her family has been notified of the request, and we know of no objection. There's been information from Metro Historic provided. If you don't have that, make sure and get it. From the resolution that took place in 2020, Resolution 2020-230, I read, whereas on April 19th, 1960, a bomb destroyed the home of defense attorney and civil rights leader Z. Alexander Luby, who represented many of the protesters. While at the home was nearly destroyed, neither Mr. Luby or his wife were injured. It served as a catalyst for the movement and triggered a massive march to the Metropolitan Courthouse and City Hall, where several thousand protesters confronted Mayor West. And whereas it was on the steps of the Metro Courthouse during this protest when Diane Nash famously asked Mayor West if it was wrong for a citizen of Nashville to discriminate against his fellow citizens because of his race or skin color, and if the lunch counters in Nashville should be disintegrated. And whereas Mayor West answered that discrimination based on race or skin color is wrong, and that Nashville's lunch counter should be desegregated, resulting in an important symbolic victory for the movement. And whereas on May 10th, 1960, after weeks of protests and secret negotiations between merchants and protest leaders, 6 downtown stores opened their lunch counters to Black customers for the first time. This took place on the steps of the courthouse. We have no intention of changing one park, one city park address at all, but rather just the name of the park itself. I've spoken a lot about a lot of different things in my life to crowds of people and small groups of people. This is emotional to me. It's emotional, obviously, to the minority caucus. I know that there are a lot of people that this would mean a lot to, but no more so than the Nash family. And I appreciate the opportunity to be the Parks Chair to champion this cause. Thanks so much.
Thank you for your time today. 07-21-11. B-Cycle requests rule change allowing Class 1 e-bikes limited to 15 miles per hour on the greenways. We're going to be deferring this to Greenways Commission for recommendations to the Parks Board. If B-Cycle wants to address the board as their representative, we'll allow you 3 minutes.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Thank you for allowing me a few minutes here, and thank you to the Parks Department and Parks Board for the great partnership with B-Cycle over the past almost 10 years. That partnership with the Nashville Downtown Partnership as well has resulted in nearly 500,000 trips on B-Cycle bikes since its launch in 2012. As you know, the program closed down earlier last year during COVID, and it was determined additional public funding would not be available to bring the program back. So I'm here, Morgan Raymaker from B-Cycle LLC, because I've been working with the Nashville Downtown Partnership to find a way to bring bike share back to Nashville and give so many more people access to bikes. B-Cycle is a subsidiary of Trek Bicycle, and we basically exist to fulfill Trek's mission of getting more people on bikes and changing the world by doing that. It solves so many problems, from congestion to health challenges and access to transportation that's greener. What we're looking at today is essentially this game changer that's allowed us to get more people on bikes over the past few years, and that's pedal assist bikes. Just to clear up a little bit about that, it doesn't have a throttle. You have to be pedaling and you get a little bit of boost, and what that does, it gives a lot more people access to be able to ride a bike, regardless of their age, their physical limitations, or their income level, because bike share is publicly available. We did this first in our own backyard. We're based in Madison, Wisconsin, and we introduced our pedal assist bikes 2 years ago, and the ridership has doubled, tripled, sometimes up to 4 times the ridership. And we see that people who already rode are riding more frequently and for different reasons. And we see that people who couldn't ride a bike anymore or never could are able to because of that little pedal assist boost. So we see this as something that's been a great tool for opening up access to bicycles in communities. And we think it could be really great here as well. I'm talking a lot about B-Cycle because that's me, but this is a rule request change that has a lot of support in the community. So I invite all of you to hear from folks that I know are here as well to talk about the reasons that pedal assist bikes have made a difference in their lives as well. And really, when it comes down to it, a lot of it is about that access piece and just making it safe for more people to ride. Safety is a really important part of this, and I know it's not only about the rider's safety, but everybody else around it. They share the beautiful greenways that you have here in Nashville. Pedal assist bikes are very safe. They are bicycles. They are defined as that by Tennessee law and by law in 43 other states as a human-powered bicycle. With that, for B-Cycle bikes in particular, they're capped at 15 miles per hour. So if you want to go faster than that, that's all you on a 60-pound bike. Good, more power to you, but they are capped there so that it's really in line with other riders in the greenways and other spaces. So thank you again for your time. Ask the consideration of allowing those Class 1 pedal assist bikes capped at 15 miles per hour to give more people a chance to enjoy the beautiful greenways. Wow. Happy to answer questions as well.
I have a question about some of the comments that came in. We got quite a few, and I think there was comments about that people are currently riding the bikes on the greenway, but then I was getting the sense that you have the ability to do geo-mapping. So can you clarify, is there geo-mapping currently and would there be a way to restrict them on the greenways?
Great question, and I think two parts to it. One is that at least the B-cycle bikes are not out in the public yet. We had hoped to bring them out in June and hope to soon, but they're not out in the world again yet. They are not geo-mapped, with ours being, it's a docked bike. You have to return it to the docks as it's worked over the past, 9 years. So we don't really have the need for GPS tracking the way like a dockless vehicle would. The way that it works though is somebody can turn the power on and off themselves during a ride.
So in other words, it's not possible for the bikes to be restricted on the greenways?
That's right, unless it's up to it's up to the rider to have that responsibility, or not putting the bikes in the greenway area. But yeah, there's some concerns with safety from our perspective of also turning off bikes when you get to a certain area. Yeah.
Any additional questions or discussion? Thank you so much. Thank you for your time. 07-21-12, Board to review recommendations for Friends Group policy amendments. Commissioner Terry Hughes, Finance Committee Chair. We will hear now your report.
Thank you. So I have, I will remind you that in the audit from the internal audit, in the report from the internal audit group of Metro's internal audit, there were some questions about the way our support groups, our friends groups are reporting their activities to the Parks Board, and that there was a number of groups that were not reporting on a regular basis. So we took a look at the policy, and I've been working with Finance Director Janita White and our fabulous Mary Peoples over here to look at the current policy and make it a little clearer and add and make sure that we weren't overdoing what we were asking from the support groups. So in your packet, you see sort of what looks like kind of a mess. It's a red line version, but it's meant to streamline and make it a little bit clearer. And in the original agreement or policy, there was an onus to report by April 1st, which was a date that I don't know exactly why that was selected, but because of the different fiscal years of the support groups, some being on calendar year, some being July 1 to June 30, what we were asking for by April 1st was either going to be way out of date. What we were asking for was really not possible for some of those groups. And so we have streamlined that a bit, saying that by April 1st annually, groups or organizations will submit to the Parks Board whatever their most current reports are. So the contact information for staff or volunteer leadership, a report of its membership, including board members and officers, and then the most recent completed annual financial statement or report, which would include their IRS Form 990, balance sheet and income statement. And there's a tool that, a financial management resource tool that we ask the groups to complete using the information from their balance sheet, their income statement, and the Form 990. And so this is all just clarified copy a little bit. You can see what it was in the struck out blue part. And then the group or organization will submit evidence that they have a current not-for-profit status by providing the board a copy of its annual filing with the Tennessee Secretary of State, a copy of their current IRS exemption letter. And then we would also like a report of their fundraising activities for the previous fiscal year, and that can be reported when the Friends groups come to us on an annual basis to report, and they can talk about that when they come. And they would give us a description, a purpose, date of the event or campaign, gross revenue, event and campaign expenditures, just all the things we would, net revenue, purpose of proceeds. And then the annual budget for the upcoming year, we would like that to be submitted to the Parks Board at least 30 days before the start of the group's upcoming year. Several organizations have different start dates, and so we've just kind of cleaned that up a little bit. Those are the changes that we are recommending in the policy, and I know that's a lot of nitty-gritty kind of information to throw at you, but I'd love to know if you have any questions or need some clarification.
This is really helpful. Thanks for doing all that work. I make a motion to approve.
Second.
Thank you so much. Any additional discussion?
Oh, hold please,
Yes.
hold please.
Yes.
Where was that? Oh, sorry, guys. One other thing. I didn't turn my page over. At the end of on the policy under number 2, Parks Board can review, yes, and so why do we do this? This was my big question in all of this, is we're asking the support organizations to give us all this information, but why? What are we doing with it? And so, number 7 is Parks Board can review submissions on request and/or the information will be provided to the Parks Board in preparation for each Friends Group's annual in-person update to the board. So that it makes sense that we're doing something with it. And the other piece that is new is we have had a hard time with compliance. And so we've added number 8, the Parks Board reserves the right to revoke or suspend Friends Group authorization if the Friends Group fails to report over 2 reporting cycles. And I will tell you that this will be policy, and I've been working with with the Parks Board, with the Parks staff on processes, because how are we reminding our Friends Groups, and there has to be some impetus to remind people and so deadlines. So there will be processes that go along with this. But from a Parks Board perspective, this is the policy we're recommending. Thank you.
Those additions, I'll go ahead and make a motion to approve with the additions.
Thank you so much. Any further discussion? One more point?
No, sorry about that. I didn't turn my page over.
All in favor? Any opposed? Thank you so much. The motion passes. We'll move now to special presentations, moving to capital projects update with Tim Nate.
Good afternoon, all. I'll just hit on the highlights as usual. The fences are down in Centennial Park and Phase 2 construction is complete. So I invite you all to go out and take a walk if you haven't already. There's still some punch list items, so there's still some bits and pieces to be taken care of, but all of that construction zone is now open to the public. There are 2 new projects on your list this month. One of them is playground sunshades for Bellevue Park. That's a project that was funded by the Friends organization, and those sunshade structures have been ordered. And also Centennial Park Phase 3, which will be a new events pavilion to replace the large shelter that is frequently used for the big band dances, sort of in the north side of the park. And that design process will be about 10 months. We're working closely with the Conservancy on that, excuse me, on the design phase. 3 projects in various stages of contract execution are construction of the Children's Memory Garden in Centennial Park, Elmington Tennis Courts refurb, and the contract for master planning at Fort Negley. Hadley Pavilion construction has begun. If you drive by, you'll see that old picnic shelter is now gone. And with the Wharf Park master plan, our consulting team will be coming to you next month with an initial presentation. And then also around August 3rd, we'll have the first phase of public engagement in that master planning process. So those are the highlights. Happy to answer any questions.
Tim, what's the timeline for the Fort Negley master plan efforts?
Once the contract is executed and we've issued a PO, it will be an approximately 1-year process. Yeah.
And can you clarify the Mill Ridge construction as opposed to the Mill Ridge that was already talked about in the meeting today?
Yes, the Mill Ridge construction on this list is the Phase 1 project, which is on the east side of Old Hickory Boulevard. So that's approximately a $12 million project. It'll include the biggest destination playground in the county, and events, lawn, picnic shelters, and a lot of other components, including public art. And Leslie left from the Arts Commission. And then the two projects that you just approved, one is for the Moore Farm property, which is where the Nashville Food Project is currently doing their work. And then the trailhead and parking lot is on the north side of the property, where really there's no public access at all right now. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll move now to upcoming special activities and events with Jackie Jones.
I always want to say good morning, but I know it's afternoon, so good afternoon, Parks Board. So July is National Parks and Recreation Month, and Parks and Recreation departments all over the United States are celebrating this month by drawing attention to the many activities and free events and programs that they have. Metro Parks is no different. We are doing the same thing. We have a variety of programs and events and services that we will be utilizing to educate our constituency about how critical we are to this city. The sheet that you just received is a little bit different than the normal board events that you get. This one is designed for primarily the public to take advantage of the many free programs and events that we have. And just to give you an idea of some of the things that are going on during Parks and Recreation Month, we have birding at Beeman. Now, all of these are free. We have a night hike scheduled at Bells Bend Community Center. We are asking people to check out the skate park, to check out the new renovations at Centennial Park. We've got jazz on the Cumberland, the big band dances, which this year is at Cumberland Park. All of these events are free to the public. And so we are hoping that the public will take advantage of not just what we're offering on the calendar of events. We do have a trivia contest that is scheduled to go online, I believe, next Monday. And we're asking people to take advantage of that and learn a little bit about the park system and maybe win a few free passes to maybe the Parthenon or Wave Country or some of our other facilities. So that concludes my report.
Thank you so much. Are there any questions? Thank you. We appreciate you. Report of the director.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Parks Board. In addition to the events that are listed on this page, that front and back, that Jackie passed out, we are still and always, as usual, very busy in all areas of the park system, from nature centers to greenways, community centers, et cetera, including in administration. And what I'd like to focus on primarily for my report is a document that you have at your place. This is the colored chart here. Since our last meeting, the FY22 operating budget has passed, and I just wanted to share with you the improvements that the Parks Department had been given. I first want to express my much thanks to the Metro Council and the Mayor's Office for all of your support, to all of our friends, groups, and constituents, residents, for your advocacy for our growing and expansive park system here in Nashville. But anyway, if you'll look, we got about 3.3, almost 3.4 million in improvements. Some of those, about $662,000 of those, will be half-year funding. So 2.7 are effective now, and we are active filling those positions. So just to be more clear, we got about 2.7 million for full-year funding. Then in January, we will get these other positions and funding, $662,000. And then going into FY '23, these positions and improvements that were funded half-year will hopefully be funded for the full year. So this is what we got. This totals about 73 positions and 53.74 FTEs. We are extremely grateful. It will help us expand programming across the department. And that was really the goal as we went into this fiscal year, is thinking about the entire park system. The way people use our programs and services and the needs. As we all know, you always hear about maintenance needs, and those are still there. But I wanted to make sure that the programs that people use, particularly programs for underserved communities, the disabilities program is number one, that we were able to broaden our scope on that a bit, and I'm very grateful that we got this funding, and I am hoping that this is a step in a positive direction and that we will be able to receive improvements year over year. Any questions? Yeah.
So, community centers on Saturdays, does this help us keep them all open?
We got funding for, yes, we got funding for half-day opening of community centers, I think last fiscal
Right.
year. And then COVID hit, COVID
Right.
hit and things changed. But yes, we are doing that, yes. Yes. Thank you for asking.
Any additional questions?
Any other questions?
Okay, go ahead.
Just congratulations.
Congratulations to us all. I say it's everybody's park system. So thank you, everybody.
We'll move now to announcements, requests for future agenda items, and open items. There was one request for future agenda items or discussion that came about in our naming committee, and that is to revisit how we receive public input. And so I want to be sure to note that for the record. Any Councilmember Hughes?
Yes, along this,
I called you a council member.
oh,
Commissioner
well, thank you,
Hughes.
I've been elevated.
Commissioner Hughes.
Oh, gosh, no, okay. Along the same lines, I would like us to look at the way we tell the history and the story at the new Hadley Lillard Park, the signage and so on.
Thank you. Any additional comments? All righty, want to acknowledge the presence of Councilwoman Sharon Hurt. We have looked at the beginning of our meeting, 03-21-02, the renaming of Hadley Park to Hadley Lillard Park. That motion did pass our body, and I just wanted to acknowledge your presence.
The motion passed?
Yes. Wanted to acknowledge your presence and give you an opportunity to speak.
First, good afternoon. Thank you all so much for allowing me to speak before you this afternoon. I apologize for my tardiness. I was actually on the phone with Professor Paul Kwame from Fisk University because we're having the Jefferson Street Jazz and Blues Festival at Fisk on July 24th, and we are giving proceeds to the Grammy Award-winning Jubilee Singers. And he was so moved that he moved me to tears. And I completely forgot that I was just caught up and realized that I needed to be here. And I know I've come to you to talk about balance and talk about history and the new Nashville. But the only thing that I thought about on my way here is that a song, when we talk about music, and it's from George Benson, who came out very strong in the 70s. And it says that everything must change. Nothing stays the same. Everyone must change and nothing stays the same. The young becomes the old, mysteries do unfold, 'cause that's the way of time. Nothing and no one goes unchanged. So for you to invite me up and tell me that my motion was approved, I don't think there are words that come to me to say thank you enough from the bottom of my heart. This is a new Nashville, and generations have taught me so much in the last 6 months, the last year. And I know that things are changing and I have to be a part of it. And I'm so grateful that you are too. Thank you so very much from the bottom of my heart. And I'm sure Mr. Lillard would also thank you if he were here.
Thank you. Are there any additional announcements, requests for future agenda items, or open items? I'll accept a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Any second? Second. Thank you all so much for your work today. The Parks Board will remain for ethics training for board members this afternoon. Thank you all so much to the public for being here. The meeting is now adjourned.
This has been a service of the Metro Nashville Network. If you would like to see this presentation again, or for more information about this and other programs, visit nashville.gov.